And welcome back. Just want to show you before we start cleaning up this cylinder head here that we went ahead and have removed our valve stem seals before we start the cleaning process. And as I was saying in the previous video, when you get these off, you'll probably distort them and kind of destroy them in the process. So do make sure that you replacements you have are the correct ones. But the easiest way I found to get these out, and you can use a standard pair of pliers. I'm just using a set of needle nose vice grips because I can, you can adjust them and kind of clip them down. And you can see I'm just grabbing hold of the very top of the valve stem, and you can see it does bend it and distort it. But once it's clipped onto the top there, then all you have to do is just kind of rock it back and forth a little bit. Now, if the vice grip comes off, because it only has a little bit of a perch, or needle nose only has just a little bit of a perch on the top, just grab it again and just kind of keep giving it a little bit of a wiggle, and there we go. You can see that eventually will come off the seat and you're done, because you can see the very bottom of that is some thick aluminum. So I'm not going to say that you couldn't damage it, but it would take a fair bit to distort the actual part of the head itself. But again, that's all I did was grab the very top of the valve stem seal that you saw there, get a hold of it, rock it back and forth a little bit, and they'll generally come off. But now that this one's had all of those seals removed and it's pretty much down to just the head itself, this one's ready to be cleaned. So I was going over several other videos and thinking about different ways that this can be done, and it occurred to me there's something I'm going to try. I'm going to try this on the intake that you see here, the gummy stuff on the intake. And you can see me just kind of peel it off with my fingernail, and this stuff here being caused by what's coming in as a result of the PCV system recirculating those crankcase vapors, and also a little bit of oil back into the intake, and it causes that gummy carbon residue to kind of form in, because you got the crankcase ventilation system and also the EGR gases that get recirculated, and you kind of end up with this pasty stuff here. So I've kind of been watching a few different videos about several ways to kind of clean up and prep these cylinder heads for reinstall. Excuse me, I gotta grab this cylinder head by my free hand here. And I'm going to try something here, and if it works out, I'll bring you back in the video and show you what I've done. But just to plug Reignited's videos again, he has a very nice process in which he uses a red Rolock disc and kind of goes over the surface of this and turns it into a very, very nice prep surface for reassembly. And it leaves a little bit of a scuffed surface, but as he explains, that's 100% normal. It's fine because the head gaskets are multi-layered steel that have a sealant built into them. And it's actually the way that Chrysler from the factory recommends that you resurface this head. And it's I'll have a link in the description to his channel, as well as to the specific video that I'm referring to, in case you want to watch it. But meanwhile, I'm going to get to work on the deposits on this head. And if what I have planned out works out, I'll bring you back and I'll explain to you what I'm using. And I'll catch you in a bit. Bye. So I wanted to bring you back real quick and kind of show you a before of these top half of these combustion chambers. Before we start, what I'm going to try here, and we'll do one more pass here. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to try a couple things and I'm going to bring you back. Thank you much. And welcome back. So I wanted to put the two cylinder heads side by side to kind of show you the before and after. So this is the driver's side cylinder head here. And you can see we've got it cleaned up. Now this is what you saw in the previous video was a before shot. So this is an after shot after we've cleaned. And let me get you a shot of the inside of the intakes, what they look like now. And just for comparison, I've got the passenger side one sitting here next to it, which we haven't done yet. So you can see that all this, the built on black stuff is carbon. Some of this is sealant from the old gasket. So what I wanted to tell you about was that this was my method for doing this. I'm not saying that this is gospel, that you need to do this, you know, to each their own. But I also watch a lot of a YouTube channel called Precision Transmission. Phenomenal instructor, as well as master technician, all of them, for rebuilding and telling you how they rebuild their transmissions and why they make the choices they make for transmissions. Well, in a lot of his videos, he keeps commenting on Scotch-Brite is your friend. Scotch-Brite is your friend. The green Scotch-Brite pad is your friend. He uses a lot in his cleaning of parts before reassembling a transmission. So I figured I would give it a shot. So what you see here is what's left over of a 3M pad, green Scotch-Brite pad. As you can see, the Scotch-Brite pad blunt the wear, or took the blunt of the wear on this. What I use to kind of douse this in is, when you think about it, a lot of individuals like to use brake clean, but there's one other substance that's already present in these cylinder heads when they're in action, when they're in use, that it's also a solvent, and that's straight old good old gasoline. So I just used a can of this True Fuel, which is 4-cycle engine oil. I'm sorry, not engine oil, engine fuel, ethanol free. Used this in conjunction with a 3M Scotch-Brite pad. And then when it was all said and done, and we had it, we had the surface looking how you see it now, which looks a hell of a lot better, in my opinion, pardon my French, than what it looked like before. We then followed it up with some brake clean to hose down every side that we touched with that pad, to include the valve spring side of it, just to get all the excess oil and grease cleaned out. Shot it down with about a can and a half of this. Gave it a nice thorough flushing to get any remnants of this 3M Scotch-Brite pad out of there. And granted, we're going to have to go through one more cleaning, because when we get done lapping the valves, we're going to clean it all again. But at least in my opinion, as you can see, that this is the after. Do another slow pan over that. You can compare that with the before, or you can just look at the passenger side cylinder head here, which is yet to be done. And I did try other methods while I was out there working on this. I tried the traditional scraper, where you just hose it down and you scrape it, and you scrape in one direction only. You don't go back up. You just keep pulling the scraper down, and you know, that did okay, and so on and so forth. But then when I switched over to the 3M Scotch-Brite pad, it took the stuff off like you were cutting, you know, using a hot knife to cut butter. And as you can see, it didn't scratch the surface any. It didn't remove material. You can still see, and hopefully you can see that, but you can still see the factory machining swirl marks that are in this finish. But I'm happy with this. We're going to do the same process with this one. And like I said, we'll go ahead, we'll start getting things. Now you'll notice that I didn't get all of the carbon out of the combustion part of this cylinder. I wasn't too concerned with that, because they're just going to get mucked up again after the, you know, first, you know, X number of minutes after we start running the engine again. But we will come in here and lap these valves, like I said, and then we'll do one more cleaning and then we'll start the reassembly. But I just wanted to show you that. And like I said, I know there's a huge, I don't want to say religion to it, but there's a huge following with how you should clean your cylinder heads and what you should use and what you shouldn't use. This is just me showing you that I used, again, green 3M Scotch-Brite, a little True Fuel, and followed it up with some brake clean to hose it all down and get all the debris off and get it cleaned off. And as you can see, at least in my opinion, it done a really nice job of getting that cylinder head cleaned up compared to what it looked like before. I'm gonna let you go with this. I may get this one cleaned up and then post this video. I think I'll do that. I think I'll go ahead and get this one cleaned up and I'll show you them both side by side, and then I'll post this video, and then when it comes time to do the valve lapping, we'll make another video out of that. But I thank you for watching. I'll chat at you later. Bye. And welcome back. So this is the passenger side cylinder head after the same treatment that we gave the driver's side. As you can see, it turned out pretty good. We've got the remnants of all the old gasket and adhesive material removed. And there's a shot of our intake ports. You remember what they looked like before. It's not 100%, but like I said, we still have to lap the valves, and then we'll give it another cleaning. But again, this is just using 3M Scotch-Brite pad, some True Fuel, which is just, basically normal gasoline without ethanol in it, using that as a solvent, and then coming through after it was all said and done and washing everything down with brake clean, just to get all the remnants of the 3M pad and other carbon material and stuff removed. And as you can see, you can see scuff marks in it where the 3M pad was going over it. But what I've seen for some of the videos, I can't catch any of this with my fingernail. It's still smooth. And from what I've seen from a lot of videos, again, also from Reignited's videos, the way Chrysler says just to use a red Rolock and go over the surface of it, and it leaves it with a lightly scuffed surface, which per the factory is fine based on the type of, my understanding, based on the type of gaskets that we're using, being multi-layered steel with the sealant built into it. It's kind of made to kind of meld with the head. Now, I'm seeing this as lightly scuffed, and there's some areas here you can see kind of around that water passage there. Obviously, if you go too deep into it and you cut into the material and remove material, then you might be in realm for an issue. But from what I can see here, and granted, again, I'm no master technician on this, from what I can see, it looks fine. Everything still feels smooth to the touch. Again, I can't catch any of this with my fingernail. And I think at this point, like I said, I think we'll be good as far as getting the gasket material off of this. Once again, we did a little bit inside the combustion area here just to help remove the excess carbon, as you can tell from the before and after. I'm not going to go too much in depth into this area because it's just going to get dirty again. Let's face it. But we're going to end the video at this point. I got a piece of shop towel in there. Let's get that out. We're going to end the video at this point, and then once we get the valves lapped, we'll post another video on that. Once the valves are lapped, then we'll start final assembly. I'm going to give you one more view. This is the driver's side cylinder head. This is the passenger. And the intake ports on the passenger. And intake ports on the driver's side. Okay. Other than that, we're going to cut it right here, and I thank you for watching. We'll get this posted, and we'll move on to the next step. Thank you much. Bye.